Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about not having emotional attachments to our lifts, and why this matters for strength training. And it matters for both our big lifts, it matters for our supplemental lifts. And the issue we have, for example, if someone likes a lift too much, like if they say, hey, this is my favorite lift, I love doing it, what tends to happen? They're going to do it all the time. Right? They're going to do it all the time. And if you do a lift all the time and you never rotate it out without any variation, what tends to happen? Well, it tends to cause inflammation. It can contribute to overuse injuries. And this is one of the things that a lot of my lifters struggle with a lot. They're like, Coach, you took my favorite lift away from me. Right? They're like, you took it away from me. I really loved doing that lift. Why'd you take it out? Why did you replace my strict standing press with an incline bench? Okay. It'll be like, well, because you don't have access to different barbells. I mean, we could take it over and I could have you clean up a pair of dumbbells and do standing presses. We're like, but I like the press, Coach. It's like, well, you also don't like having inflammation and overuse injuries. And what's the difference? Aren't we working similar muscles? Right? What's the problem? People forget that these lifts are tools. And I do mean all these lifts are tools. For example, let's even take our big three for powerlifting, which you guys very, very, very rarely see me do the big three, right? How many times have you seen me max on a normal conventional deadlift in the last year? Once, twice, they were both PRs. Back squat, once, it was a PR, big PR. Okay, actually it was twice and they were both PRs. So, I don't use them outside of that. Well, what do they represent? Is there anything magical about the big three? No, they're tools. What are they tools for? Well, like, what do we use them for in something like powerlifting or in strength and conditioning if a coach has you max out on a bench or a squat? Right? Let's say your coach for whatever sport you play has you max on it and they're using it to assess something. What are they doing with it? What are we doing with it in powerlifting? It's a proxy for strength. It is a test of brute strength. That's what we're assessing. The bench press, the flat bench, is a good test of your overall pressing strength in your upper body. Okay. The squat is a good test of your leg and posterior chain and to some extent upper back strength. That's what it's a test of. Conventional deadlift. It's a test of your back and posterior chain and grip strength. These are all just their tests of strength. That is what we are using them for in that context. We are using them as a proxy to determine how strong you are at three basic movement patterns: a squatting type movement, a hip hinge that you have to grip in your hands, and a press. In a standardized format in which we have very standardized rules in place so that we can compare you to someone else in an apples to apples comparison. That's it. That is what they're used for. They're a test of strength. Now, people will argue, well, some people have better leverage. Some people can get more mobility in certain form. Okay, fine. That is true. But the leverage doesn't change that. Are you telling me that you're not as strong because you have better leverages? No, you are stronger. A person with better leverages for pulling can pull more weight than you. They can produce more force. Okay, that matters. We're talking about force production. It's a test of strength. That's all they are, though. They are a test of strength. What are we using the overhead press for in training? What's the purpose of it? It's a hypertrophy exercise. Unless we're maxing on it, unless we're using it as a test of strength, a display of strength, we're generally using an overhead press for what? To build up your shoulders, different parts of your shoulder, your triceps, maybe your upper chest. And we're using it to build muscles up. Nothing magical about that. And if you love it so much that you can't rotate it out ever and replace it with something else, or a combination of other lifts that can do the exact same job you need them to do, you're going to predispose yourself to staleness. You're going to predispose yourself to inflammation. They're just tools, guys. Even more so, what about a lift that you hate? What if you have an emotional attachment to a lift because you hate it? I hate anything with a safety bar. I literally hate it. And there I am doing them. Hating every second of it. Usually we hate a lift because it displays our weaknesses. Or maybe it's really uncomfortable. Maybe an exercise is really uncomfortable. Why is it uncomfortable though? Okay. Why is that safety bar uncomfortable? Because maybe our upper back isn't up to par. Doesn't mean, like when I say I have a weak upper back, for example, I don't mean that my upper back is weak compared to the average gym goer. No, my upper back is probably twice as strong as most guys who train. The problem is that the rest of my back, my lower back, my posterior chain, all that, is possibly 3 or 4 times stronger than those people. So for me, that upper back is weak. So when I have enough weight or workload on that safety bar to actually use the other muscles effectively, my upper back can't handle it. So it's really uncomfortable. Okay? If a floor press sucks for you, if a floor press hurts your shoulders, it's because you don't know how to press. You don't know how to grip a bar correctly. You don't know how to stay tight at the bottom of a bench. So it hurts. You don't like it. Well, you need to learn how to do it then. And that's the problem. If we don't like something, it's because it brings out a weakness in our technique or in our musculature. And we don't like that. But in those two cases, it's not knowing how to perform movements correctly. Or maybe you're not strong enough to really handle the weights you're trying to handle for any number of quality reps. Okay, so it hurts. But even with the floor press, it hurts because you don't know how to press. And if you can't floor press correctly, you can't get any arch set up in there on the floor press. You can't keep your hands in a good position to where your wrists aren't all bent. You can't keep the bar stacked. You can't keep the bar stacked on a floor press. It's going to tend to hurt, isn't it? Shoulders hurt. But actually, it's easier on your shoulders than a bench press, usually. It puts you in some awkward positions. Well, if that happens, that means that you're pressing inefficiently on all your presses. Your bench is going to say, like, it actually is a proxy for how bad your bench is, even the way you grip the bar. Displays a weakness. If you can't keep your chest contracted at the bottom, it hurts because the bar hits the ground hard. It hurts your elbows. It's uncomfortable. Well, that means that you're not able to bench correctly either, because it means you can't maintain tightness at the bottom of a bench. Okay, it brings out your weak links, and we don't like it. Okay, so if you don't like an exercise, it may be because it brings out your weak links, and to the point to where your weak links, the compensation could be really, really uncomfortable at times. Okay, it could be really uncomfortable. And my upper back just kills me with anything with the safety bar. Look at that, like 245 for sets of 12 on a good morning for me is ridiculous. But that's all I can handle. People who know what I do with the other bars know why that's ridiculous. I can do sets of 20 with heavier weight than that with other bars. Perspective. My upper back can't take it. So it's uncomfortable. It means I need to be doing more of it. I need to shore up those weak links. Movements we don't like, that we have a negative attachment to, is because we suck at them. It's like, oh, I hate the deadlift. It's like, no, you hate the deadlift probably because you suck at it. It brings out your weak links. You have weak erectors. You have weak glutes. There's something going. You have a weak ass grip. And it makes you aware of what's weak. Because those weaknesses come out. Sometimes they hurt. You know, we dislike lifts just like we have favorite lifts oftentimes because we're really good at them. We dislike lifts because they make us uncomfortable. And they make us uncomfortable because they attack our weak links, or they display our weak links. You need to lose that emotional attachment. These are just tools, guys. These are tools that we use to assess ourselves, tools we use to get stronger, to get more jacked, to do these things. We cannot afford emotional attachments to these lifts. They are simply tools. And your emotional attachments to those lifts will cause you to overdo certain movements and to underdo others. And that's not good for balanced musculature. It's not good for strength. It's not good for your performance. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.